So the alert is on, not only the Ghana Health Service, but also the immigration, saying that they are putting in place the measures. But you also heard from the PhD students who just arrived in the country just last night. And that interaction was not only educative, but also giving us a pointer as to what the various institutions are doing to ensure that we have some public health safety measures in check in regards to the coronavirus and its spread. But moving on, let's talk about politics. We told you we'll be looking at the governing new patriotic parties primaries, because they are opening the gates for aspiring presidential and parliamentary candidates to pick their forms and also file their nominations, at least for the parliamentary one. They have 168 seats that are up for grabs after the party's hierarchy decided to allow one of them, Ayawaso West Wogon MP Lydia Al-Hassan, to go unopposed. And we need some great education on the subject in the lead up to that main election. And we know the timetable is now set for March to have that primaries, but largely who better than to give us this sort of education? The Director of Elections of the NPP, Sia Evans Demarco, is a regular on the show, giving us some great insight into what's happening regarding such elections in the party. Good morning to you, Mr. Nimako.
Good morning.
And I know that out of the 168, many of them, or if not all, are within your strongholds. Is that the case?
Yeah, that is it.
Okay.
Let me say good morning to our viewers, and thank you for inviting me. What you discussed earlier, I think it's a serious issue that stakeholders need to take it up. Dr. Bequim, from what he said, they are putting measures in place, but it is for all now to really step up and ensure that the way it is, we are all at risk. And so it is important that we put up an attitude that will ensure that we are able to nip it in the bud. And coming to our arrangements to ensure that we have our primaries in all the 168 constituencies across the country. The arrangement that has been made is that the country has been zoned into 5. These are constituencies. We have sitting members of parliament. It's in Ashanti region where we have 44 of these constituencies. So under the arrangement, our General Secretary, Mr. John Boedu, is leading the team that is to chair the National Parliamentary Vetting Committee, to be assisted by our National NASAR Coordinator, Mr. Aziz Futa, and the lawyer Gary Nimakomafo. They will join by the regional chairman, regional secretary, regional research and elections officer, and then the constituency parliamentary elections committee composed of the constituency chairman, constituency secretary, research and elections, the chairperson of the council of elders in the constituency, and an elderly woman in the constituency. These bodies have been composed in a manner that they will ensure that the whole process will be well managed. We've made it this way also to ensure that it is people who really appreciate the party, who understand the mood of the party. These balanced people who understand the party's philosophy and can really manage this process. We have Ahafo, Bono and Bono East as Zone 2. We have our first vice chairperson, Madam Talata, assisted by our Deputy General Secretary, Mr. Lai Square, and another person to join to ensure that Nana Boachi, the National Youth Organizer, to organize Ahafo, Bono and Bono East. Central Region, Western Region, and Western North, our second vice chairperson, Mr. F.F. Anto, is assisted by the Minister of Transport, Mr. Foresiama, and lawyer Frank Davis, to ensure that those constituencies in the 3 regions are also managed well in the manner that the party has set out. In the case of Eastern Region, Greater Accra, and Oti Region, we have 1 constituency in Oti Region. We have Madam Kate Jemfua, the National Women Organizer. The committee is chaired by our Deputy General Secretary, lawyer Obri Buahin, and they are assisted by Aro Solomon, former High Commissioner, to manage Greater Accra, Eastern, and then Oti Region. For the 5 northern regions, Upper East, Upper West, Savannah, Northeast, and Northern Region, the 3rd Vice Chairperson, Mr. Wade, and our National Organizer, Mr. Samuel Oku, and our Deputy Youth Organizer, Joseph Kwaeja are in charge of the northern sector of the country. So that is it. In terms of the time, we opened the nomination last Monday. Today's week, 20th. It's been open for 1 month, so we'll close nomination on 20th February. It is expected that known and active party members in good standing, and when we mention good standing and you're a party person, you understand, you're supposed to go purchase forms from the constituency parliamentary elections committee at 2,000 Ghana cedi with the banker's draft. When you are filing your documentation, you do so with an amount of 20,000 as the filing fee. And if you are not a sitting member of parliament, we expect that you will pay a development levy to ensure that the party is able to organize a very successful conference. That's about that. But for youth, women, and persons with disability, the leadership has decided that they will pay, not free, but a rebate of 50%. This is the way to ensure that we have more youth and women coming on board and then have their views.
So even if it's a physically challenged person or a woman or somebody in that vulnerable category contesting the primaries, they still would have to just pay half of the nomination. Half
of the nomination fee and then half of the development levy.
Right.
That is for. It's expected that between the 28th of February and then 8th of March, the vetting of these prospective candidates would have ended. Okay. When they are done, the party has put in place what we call the National Parliamentary Appeals Committee. This is all process of managing the whole process. So in the event that you appear before the vetting committee and feel that the decision is not favorable to you, you have the option of appearing before the committee. The committee is chaired by Mr. Peter McMahon, our former national chairman, 2016 campaign manager, who understands the party. He is assisted by Madame Lisbeth Ohene, an elder of the party, chair of the disciplinary committee of the party. We have Dr. Kwame Adokufo, a nobleman, as a member. We have Reverend Dr. S.K. Boafo as a member. We have lawyer Gary Nimakumanfo, our U.S. branch chairperson, Obaya Frempoma, is a member of the committee.
Of the disciplinary committee.
Of the appeals committee.
Of the appeals committee.
Yes, and then I've also been made to be the secretary to the committee. We have lawyer Emmanuel Dakwa as a member of the committee. So you can meet the committee and make your case that you were not fairly treated by the vetting committee. Right. All these options have been open for prospective members to know that this is a process that is very transparent, very open. We want to ensure that at the end of the conference, the party would have put together a strong candidate for all the constituencies we are vying. When it is constituency delegate conference, it is the constituency executives that we call them constituency executive committee who are delegate to the conference. All polling station executives in the constituency are delegate to the conference. All electoral coordinators are delegate to the conference. We also have council of elders and patrons, and for them, the constitution says that they come with 5 members each as delegate to the conference. And any person who was a foundation signatory of the party's documentation to EC is also a respected delegate to the conference. So this is the arrangement for the parliamentary primaries and the conference
and the composition of the delegates.
Yes.
Okay. Now, ultimately, the appeal, after you've appeared before the vetting committee and you want any grievance address, for which you now go to that committee for redress, that is going to be at the national level?
Yeah,
it's just one committee at the national level?
One committee at the national level.
So even if you have 20 of them aggrieved, they all have to troop into the national level?
That's the arrangement. With this same for the orphan constituency, you know, we ran primaries for the 106 that we don't have certain members of parliament. And we had put in place the same. And if you realize, I mean, that was one of the world organized inter-party arrangement that had a little challenge. The only challenge we had was Amasaman constituency, where one gentleman went to court. But even that, he on his own went to withdraw the case, and we had a successful conference in Amasaman constituency.
I remember that time you were in the studio. Some related issues we had to iron out in relation to that. But when it comes to the subject of why the party decided to schedule this election this time, what usually is the response?
Oh, I mean, if you follow the New Patriotic Party, this is not different from the others we've done. In most cases, whenever we are in government, the party organizes primaries for where we do not have certain members of parliament ahead of that of where we have certain members of parliament. So this is not different from.
So your response is that it's just a norm.
It's the norm. This has been
it's
the
not
convention.
Because of any other reason to manage grievances and all that.
Not at all. I mean, the New Patriotic Party thrives on competition. So it's not something we ran away from. And so it's not that we're managing any grievances. The issue was that where we do not have certain members of parliament, let's get that done ahead of where we have certain members of parliament. And the party has program lineup. From last year up till now, we started, General Secretary led a team that started training of the party leadership, giving orientation. So we've planned our programs, and April 25, 2020 is the day for the organization of a conference in the 168 constituencies.
April 25.
April 25, as well as the presidential primaries.
All right. So we have noticed, we have also read widely, some individuals, top leadership of the party, executives, said to be organizing meetings and some convocations in which allegedly some individuals were said to be within a circle of endorsement or approval for this primary we're talking about. And these are all related to areas where you have seats. For example, let me cite so that you don't say you don't know. In the Ashanti region, Chairman Wontumi is Mr. Busiakon, that's his name, right? Okay, so yes. he has been reported widely by the media to have circled certain individuals to be a no-go area to be contested at all, just to protect them for the seats. Is it a formal thing or something that the party is doing informally?
Well, thank you very much. Let me say good morning to Chairman Wontumi. It's a movement, and he says it's stronger than apartheid. Well, that was on the lighter side, but to the issue, the party leadership, after the national chairman called for National Executive Committee meeting and National Council, agreed that the party open nomination in all constituencies where we have certain members of parliament, with the exception of Ayawaso West Ogun. So in the leadership arrangement, there hasn't been any discussion anywhere that there should be a move to protect any certain member of parliament. It's politics, so people can begin a certain campaign to ensure that their preferred candidates will emerge the winner. But for us, what we've indicated in our rules of engagement is that if you are an executive from polling station, electoral area, constituency, regional and national, and you show interest, you want to procure form, you have to recuse yourself from this whole process. So you're telling me, but I also heard Mr. Nchubo Siakon, Chairman Wontumi, telling us that there was no such occasion, but the regional party was undertaking an outreach program to mobilize the base to ensure that the party's philosophy and ideology are instilled on new executives that have assumed office. I don't think it lies in anybody's mouth to say that you will be the sole candidate for any of the constituencies. That's why we've opened it and saying that if you are a party member in good standing, approach the constituency parliamentary elections committee, procure form, and on 25th of April 2020, there will be primaries to select the candidate.
That's the official position.
That's the official position of the party.
So these semantics and these things
it has never happened.
It has never happened.
It has never happened.
I also do know reliably information that was indicated that Mr. Nchubo Siakon had a meeting. He wanted to have the meeting for certain caucus individuals who are still occupying the position of MPship in the Ashanti region, and he decided to hold it in a house or a facility belonging to a sitting member of parliament. That was discriminatory against a candidate, and these actions are ongoing. But your response again is what?
Yeah, I mean, it's politics, it's internal politics. What I would say to this is that in Ashanti region, I'm aware that we have 44 sitting members of parliament. I've not heard any of them saying that they don't want to go through the primaries. In fact, I've heard Eugene Entry, MP for Subin, saying that he's ready for contest. I've heard the MP for Mensha South, Collins Amankwa, saying that he's up for contest. So it amazes me, but I'm saying that all these are part of the political process. If you're able to manage it well, if you're able to get some people to give a certain endorsement, maybe some delegates.
That's their palaver.
But
nationally,
for
nationally,
with open nomination, and as I said, the General Secretary, Mr. John Boedu himself, is the chair of the National Parliamentary Vetting Committee responsible for Ashanti region. He is assisted by lawyer Guy Nimakumafo and our National NASA coordinator. We are combining all these personalities to ensure that the management of the process is done within the details of the law. In mind, we have these rules of engagement. Our party constitution is available. The 1992 constitution, Article 94 is available. If you fall short of this, I think that the vetting committee will not hesitate to ask you that you will not be able to contest. That aside, I don't think anything, unless there are issues of criminality that will come to the attention of the committee and the National Executive Committee, nothing will stop any member in good standing with the support of the constituency from participating in this internal election. When we are done with all this, I'm aware that the National Executive Committee will put in place another team to verify all the documentations of prospective candidates who submit to the EC. So even when you've been given the nod by the constituency delegate, the national party will still subject you to another interrogation of verifying all your documents.
Is the party worried that taking this position is going to result in some important personalities who play critical roles not only for the constituencies but also for the party in parliament, who not only have experience on their side but also great knowledge of not only parliamentary work but also party structural work, to be contested and ultimately could lose their seats?
I said earlier, the New Patriotic Party thrives on competition. I mean, the president himself from 98, 2007 up to 2015 was contested. Okay, so each and every one of the sitting MPs who have shown interest to contest will be contested by other people in the constituency. So it's an open thing. No, the party is not shelving any individual. And if you check from the history, the New Patriotic Party always open up for these internal contests. One time, majority leader, Honorable Abraham Oseidu, was contested. So it happens. We don't shelve contestants. But if you've worked hard and the constituents appreciate your leadership, I don't think they'll have difficulty giving you the nod again.
So you're not worried if somebody like Mr. Oseichi Mensabunsu, the majority leader and the Minister for Parliamentary Affairs, is contested and he loses, for example?
Well, I mean, you are hypothesizing whether it's going to happen or not. For us, he knows that he is going to go into contest. He sat in the National Steering Committee, National Executive Committee. He's been part of this whole process of putting up rules and regulations that will govern this. And he knows that he's not being protected by the National Party. I mean, to be fair to each party member, once you think that you qualify under the 1992 Constitution, you qualify under our party's Constitution, by these rules and regulations you qualify, you approach the committee and you'll be made to go through. wherever the party will have to discuss, it's been laid out clearly. There will be vetting, there will be appeals if there's any, and then the bigger body, which is the constituency conference, will decide whether it should be you or it should be another person to represent us in those constituencies. So that's the arrangement.
Okay. But ultimately, it's going to be a one-day contest across board, and then the results will be known to you ultimately. Is that, or you're going to have some schedules for putting off some elections and some others?
No, I mean, it's the other party that does like that. They do it.
You're talking about the NDC, your main rival.
For us, we do it 25th date has been set as the day for all these constituencies, 168, to organize. Even in other constituencies where we do not have certain members of parliament, like I also West Ogun, they will still meet as a conference and then
do
acclaim.
The acclamation.
In the same day, we're also going to do our presidential primaries. So all constituencies, 275, will meet at a venue, and we are in touch with the Electoral Commission to supervise the conduct of the elections. We are getting in touch with the police service to ensure that security is well provided, all installations are secure. I mean, so that our conference will be another milestone that will be recorded as one of the well-organized conferences in the history of the New
Again, it's a
Party.
conference, but it will be convened at the various, is it regions or constituencies?
Yeah, I mean, constituency, conference, and then when we come to presidential, it's a national congress, but it's decentralized. Okay. Because we've opened up the delegation for the presidential primary. So that's how it is.
Well, wish you all the best for it. And any other thing you want to add?
Well, thank you very much. I think for us as New Patriotic Party, we've been trying to use our limited resources to organize our party.
You have limited resources?
Yes, build the base of the party to ensure that leadership, people who are in charge of our polling station, electoral area, constituency, and regional level are well positioned to support the Nana Addo Dankwa Bawumia government to ensure that Ghanaians live a dignified life. All we seek to do is to build a party that is solidified enough, able to mobilize our base and ensure that it's a party that can ensure the development of Ghana.
Thank you very much. Director of Elections, the NPP, and we have Evans Namapo. Thank you for joining me, sir.
I'm grateful for having me.
Nice meeting you, always. And he's always answering our calls to come to the studio to give us some great insights in relation to elections when it comes to the NPP. But moving on, we have the wife of the Vice President, Samira Bawumia, adding her voice to JoyNews' Arrive Alive campaign. And we ask you to watch this.